came back into the market in a very big way.
What we know now is Wall Street can bring down Main Street.
People are seeing this, and those memories of fear are coming back.
When you have a 401k or a 403b, those kinds of accounts, they are incredibly susceptible to downturns.
The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped more than 900 points. More than 900 points.
There are questions about how to best save for retirement.
Part of the problem is confusion.
Time keeps on slipping into the future.
The first rule in investment is don't lose. And the second rule in investment is don't forget the first rule. And that's all the rules there are.
When the market goes up, you go up. When the market goes down, you don't go down. Save Money Radio, your money safe and sound.
Welcome to Safe Money Radio with your host, Brad Pistole. Brad is a retirement and income specialist, primarily serving Springfield, but he's sought after nationally for his expertise in helping people secure their retirements. Mr. Pistole is a licensed life insurance professional in the states of Missouri, Arkansas, and Kansas, and he specializes in working with people who are near retirement and those who have already retired with wealth management, income planning, and asset protection strategies.
Save Money Radio, your money safe and sound.
And now, here to talk with you about securing your retirement, your host, Brad Pistole.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. If you've never listened to the show, you might want to go to YouTube later and type in Brad Pistole and Safe Money Radio and subscribe to our podcast. This is a very, very important show today, and you might want to be able to listen and pause and rewind, because today we're going to be talking about a recent Kiplinger report that was posted in August of 2024. The report was written by senior retirement editor Elaine Silvestrini. And in this report, she talks about the powerful role annuities play in a retirement income plan. And she quotes Dr. Michael Finca from the American College, who has appeared as a guest on this show many times. Now, this article is titled, What You Should Know About Annuities, and it begins by saying, annuity sales are breaking records as more people are attracted by higher interest rates, and they see them as a reliable source of retirement income. Now, friends, according to a survey by Corebridge Financial, more than half of Americans today say they want to live to be 100 years old, but 55% of these people also say they are extremely or very concerned about running out of money. Now, listen to what my good friend, Dr. Michael Finca from the American College says next. He says this, the good news is that if you're considering buying an annuity, you're probably going to live longer than someone who doesn't buy an annuity. That's because research has shown that people who contribute to defined contribution plans, things like 401ks, live much longer than those who don't. Then he goes on to say, so people who have enough money to worry about this are going to live significantly longer than the average American. And it's really dramatic. People who make more money in the United States live a lot longer, mainly because of differences in smoking rates and, to a lesser extent, exercise and diets and access to health care. But the prospect of living longer paralyzes the spending of some retirees who consistently live more frugally than necessary, depriving themselves of the enjoyment that they worked so hard to afford. Dr. Finca then suggests this. He says one of the biggest mistakes people make is that they want to put their arms around their nest egg and keep it forever, and they don't have a realistic conversation with themselves about what the goal of money is. And that's why we always talk about the 4 purposes of money with our clients. Friends, in my best-selling book, Bulletproof, The Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan, I go into specific detail about the 4 purposes of money, and I talk about why it's so important to know and understand what your purpose is for each bucket of money that you own. Now, there's someone named Mike Harris who is a senior education advisor at the Alliance for Lifetime Income, and I want you to listen to what he says about annuities in retirement. He says, different annuities meet specific retirement needs. Some annuities are used like CDs, places to keep money for a set period of time where it can grow at a specified interest rate. And unlike CDs, Annuity growth is tax-deferred, which means the money placed into the annuity is not taxed until it is withdrawn. But the real strength of annuities is their ability to create a lifetime income stream. That's where they shine. There's only 3 ways to have guaranteed lifetime income: Social Security, pensions, and annuities. That's it. Nobody else can guarantee the income off any other product. Now, friends, I've been sharing this information all across the country since the financial crisis, all the way back in 2008. Now, I know this sounds crazy because I'm only 53 years old at the time of this recording, but I purchased my first indexed annuity all the way back on May the 2nd of 2008 during the financial crisis. And I will never forget how many people said, "You did what with your 403B? You purchased an annuity with it? Oh, you're going to regret that." Friends, even my own father, who was a financial advisor at Merrill Lynch at the time, said, "I don't have any idea what a fixed indexed annuity is, but I'll tell you this, we don't sell them and we probably never will." Well, my, how much time changes things. My father lost about 40% of the value of his Merrill Lynch 401k in 2007 through early 2009, while I was protecting 100% of my money inside my fixed indexed annuity. That thing everyone used to say you should never buy. Friends, in fact, in 2009, I made 20.38% inside my fixed indexed annuity. I'll show you my return when you come to my office for our meeting. And my father, you know what was going on in his world? Well, he was reeling from the shock of having lost more than $400,000 in the value of his 401k at the same time. Now scroll forward 3 years later, and my father retired from a near 20-year career with Merrill Lynch, and he came to work for me. When he retired, he rolled over his 401k and purchased 3 different fixed indexed annuities, those things he said you should never ever buy. And he did it to protect his own retirement, something Merrill Lynch could not and would not do for him or any of their clients. And now, my mother still receives the income from those annuities that he set up for her way back in 2011, and she will continue to receive this monthly income for the rest of her life. Now, friends, I want you to stay with us on today's show because after the break, I'm going to be sharing part of my interview with Dr. Michael Finca, where he talks about why annuities are so important to guarantee your lifetime income. And if you would like to read my father's story about how an advisor of 52 years who used to say never buy an annuity became an advisor who sold them and who purchased them to protect his own retirement, just call us anytime at 866-780-7233. My book, Bulletproof, The Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan, tells my father's story. And you don't want to miss out on this life-changing information. Our number again is 866-780-7233, and there's always someone standing by to take your call. Well, I must take a short break. This is Brad Pistole, and you're listening to Safe Money Radio. Let's pause for some exciting announcements.
When was the last time you did a beneficiary review on your life insurance and annuity policies? Did you know that many non-qualified joint annuities have incorrect beneficiary designations that completely bypass the joint annuitant from receiving death benefits? Another major mistake made on beneficiary designations can cause your death benefit to be subject to estate taxes or probate. This is something you cannot fix once you die, which is why you should call us now for a complimentary review of all life and annuity beneficiary designations. Your loved ones depend on this money. Let's make sure your money goes where it's intended. Our phone number is 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233.
Money, money, money.
All right. And you teach me about money then, Mr. Nassau.
Firstly, money can increase or decrease in value. Secondly, money is risky, but at a given moment one has some idea of its worth. Thirdly, money can buy you many things: comfort, luxury, relief from pain, sometimes even life itself. And now you listen to me. And you listen very carefully. next to the speed of light, which Einstein says is the only absolute in the universe, second only to that, I rank money.
You're listening to Safe Money Radio.
You mean money is the whole thing?
Money is the whole thing.
Business owners, some of you have worked 20 and even 30 years to build your business. You're ready to sell this asset and go into retirement. You don't want to risk or lose any of your hard-earned money. Property owners, have you just sold your property and need to turn that money into lifetime income? How about 401k participants? Have you recently changed jobs or reached age 59 and a half and have a retirement account that you don't want to expose to market loss? If you have money you're counting on for retirement, we can ensure that you sleep at night with our income and wealth preservation planning. Don't gamble your life's work away if you are nearing or in retirement. Take some chips off the table and do something to take the stress out of retirement. Call 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. Now back to more Safe Money Radio with your host, Brad Pistole.
Welcome back to Safe Money Radio. I'm Brad Pistole, a certified financial fiduciary and a safe money retirement specialist. Friends, before the break, we were talking about a new Kiplinger report that is titled, What You Need to Know About Annuities. And in this article, they quote Dr. Michael Finca from the American College of Financial Services many times. Now, if you missed the first part of the show, just go to our podcast on YouTube and watch it and listen to it. But let's pick up where we left off before the break with this interview that I recently did with Dr. Michael Finca right here on Safe Money Radio. Just listen to what he has to say about the role annuities play in retirement and why they are such an important tool to have in your toolkit.
For a long time, Brad, I've been interested in this idea of retirement income planning. So how do average workers take the money, first of all, save the money for retirement that they need to, and then turn that into some kind of a lifestyle after they retire. That's one of the reasons why I do all this work with defined contribution plans is I'm trying to get plan sponsors to think a little bit more, to have a little bit more empathy towards their workers, because this is not easy. In the defined contribution era, we have to save money in these defined contribution plans, these 401ks. We get to retirement, we've got this big lump sum of money, we really have no idea what to do with it. And the average worker now is saving in a target date fund. So they don't even have to control what they're investing. It's all taken care of for them. Now, that's a big responsibility. And it's something that I've been studying for over a decade now with people like Wade Pfau and others is how do you do that right? How do you take the amount of money that you've invested and then turn that into an income? How do you accept investment risk when it makes sense? How do you pool longevity risk when it makes sense? So I'm going to be using some terms here that to a lot of academic economists are pretty basic, but I think to a lot of people, this idea of pooling longevity risk, that's something that they've never really thought about. But for those of us who are in this field, who are economists, this is a primary problem of trying to create an income in retirement, is the fact that none of us knows at the beginning how long we're going to live. And if we try to bear that risk ourselves, we get no reward for taking it.
Dr. Michael Finca says, the list of economists who support using annuities to provide retirement income includes some of the most prominent in the world, among whom are Nobel Prize recipients. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think there's, I'm in a group of economists who talk about retirement income planning. And within the group, there are some pretty famous people, and there's never an argument about the value of an annuity. So that's something that economists, there are these things that academic economists and I think practitioners sometimes have different opinions about. And, the academic economists are very much based on what is mathematically optimal and what is research-based. In other words, what does the evidence say? So another example of this will be whether or not active mutual fund management makes sense. For a long time, academic economists have said, you should probably just try not to beat the markets. You should focus on things like expenses. That that's a difference between, I think, the way that a lot of advisors feel and the way that economists who just look at the evidence, including how well financial advisors do in their own portfolios, think. Now, academics like myself and like a lot of other famous economists, Robert Merton, Bill Sharp, people like Moshe Milevsky, who haven't yet won a Nobel Prize, but Richard Thaler, who, all those three have won Nobel Prizes. They've all been talking for a long time about this annuity puzzle, which is why don't more people own an annuity in retirement? Because it gets rid of this idiosyncratic risk that I mentioned before, which is not knowing how long you're going to live. So I'm going to give an example. And this is a way of understanding why economists like the idea of an annuity. So imagine that your kid phones you up, your spouse phones you up and says, "Hey, it's your kid's birthday. There's going to be somewhere between 5 and 40 kids that are going to show up for a birthday party. You have one birthday cake, and you have to decide how big of a slice to give each one of those kids as they walk through the door." So kid one walks through the door, and on average, there's going to be about 20 kids that are going to show up to the birthday party. So do you cut the cake into 20 slices? No, because you know that there could be 40 kids that show up. So you imagine, what happens when that 35th kid comes in the room and you're out of cake and you have to explain to them that there's no more cake left, and they tell their parents, and you don't get invited to any more barbecues in the neighborhood. So you cut the cake into little small pieces to make sure that you don't run out. And that's not efficient. So what if instead an efficient approach would be you make a deal with a bakery. The bakery knows that on average there's going to be 20 kids that show up to a birthday party. They charge you a little bit more for the birthday cake, but they guarantee that if more than 20 kids show up, they're going to show up with a second birthday cake. What does that allow you to do? It allows you to cut the birthday cake into bigger pieces, and you don't have to worry about running out. And if the 21st kid comes in, you're out of birthday cake, but they show up with a second birthday cake. So you cut bigger slices, and no one has to worry about running out. Everybody is better off. So that's the benefit of delegating that idiosyncratic longevity risk to an institution. In this case, a bakery, but you could do the same thing with an insurance company with your retirement income. So you've got this savings and you want to use it to fund your spending every year in retirement, but you're going to cut a small slice of that savings because you're worried about running out. And what ends up happening is what economists call unintended bequests. And that means that most retirees who are responsible, they just don't spend their money because they're worried about potentially running out. Now, what if you could delegate that risk to an insurance company? You could say, "Hey, I got this pot of money. I'm going to pull out this amount of money every year. And then if I run out, if there's nothing left, then you're on the hook. You've got to continue to provide me a check." That's what's known as a lifetime income benefit. So I have my account and it has a certain amount of money in it, and the insurance company is charging me a fee on top of that. That's not a fee, really. That's more of an insurance premium. So it is an insurance premium that the insurance company then invests and use it to pay for the income of all of those retirees who lived longer than average. So they take that fee, they invest it, you spend down all your savings. If you're still alive, then the insurance company will continue to make those payments to you from those fees that they collect from all retirees. Everybody's better off. The insurance company is able to earn a little bit of a profit. You're able to spend more from your savings every year, and you don't have to worry about running out. I like to call it the Long Life Income Club. By joining the club, you can spend more every year and worry less. And that's the annuity puzzle. The reason why those of us who study this stuff we're at a loss to be able to explain why more people don't buy an annuity, especially to fund those expenses that are what we like to call inflexible. So things that don't bounce around over time. I've got to make my property tax payments. I've got to pay for health care. I've got to pay for food. I've got to pay for transportation. I've got to fund a certain amount of expenses every year. I could either try to fund that myself using low volatility investments like bonds, or I can create this long life income club with other retirees. That'll allow me to spend more every year, and I won't have to worry about running out.
That the power of risk pooling and mortality credits. You just talked about it. And hey, all those expenses you're talking about, guess what? They're going up. So being able to spend more of your own money is a powerful thing. So friends, if you're listening right now, just write this number down, 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. You can always call into the show at any time and say, I want to learn more information about what Dr. Michael Finca was talking about on the show today, or I want a copy of Brad's book, Bulletproof, The Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan. We're more than happy to send those to you. So there's always someone standing by to take your call, 866-780-7233. And we'll be back right after this message, more with Dr. Finca. Since I have to take a break, now would be a great time to call me for a complimentary copy of my best-selling book, Bulletproof, The Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan. And I'll also give you a copy of my Safe Money Kit. My number is 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. Isn't it time to stop exposing your retirement to market risk? You're listening to Safe Money Radio with Brad Pistole.
Do you think the market is going up or going down? Or is that even the right question to be asking? Here's a better question. When the market goes up, do you get to lock in your gains? What if you never had to worry about the market going up or down? Here's another question. Do you have a plan to never outlive your retirement money? What if the market crashes when you need to start using your money for retirement? Taking withdrawals from your retirement account can have devastating consequences due to sequential rate of return risk. If you don't know what that is, you should call us to find out. Brad's best-selling book, Bulletproof, The Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan, and his Safe Money Kit can show you how to limit market risk and guarantee a lifetime of income. So pick up the phone and call us now at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. Now back to more Safe Money Radio with your host, Brad Pistole.
Thank you for tuning in to Safe Money Radio. I am Brad Pistole, a market risk mitigation specialist helping clients with retirement money preservation and income planning. Okay, on the show today, we have Dr. Michael Finca, and we're asking him specific questions about the research regarding annuities and where they fit in a portfolio. And I've just been asking him about some of his comments that I've been using his information for years. And so back in 2019, you and Dr. Wade Pfau, who's been on the show a couple of times, you said if the reason you saved for retirement was to provide a secure lifestyle, there's no more efficient way to create lifetime income than through an annuity. Well, I know that's debated by lots of people, but tell us why your research says that.
Yeah, I mean, oftentimes the people who debate that say, well, I can get a higher return on your investments if I put the money into the market. And right. On average, that's true. On average, the market will generate more return than some types of annuity products. Now, there are products that incorporate risky assets. There are products that don't incorporate risky assets. Let's just keep it simple, and let's talk about whether taking more investment risk is better than an approach that just focuses on providing a secure and stable base of income. Yeah. And I've been one of those who have said, we've done well in the United States with our stock investments. There have been these historical periods where stocks over the course of 20 years have done great, mainly in the middle of the 20th century and on the lead up to the tech bubble, between the late 1970s and the late 1990s. Yeah. So between 1934 and 1953, if you had put $1 into the stock market, it never grew to an amount less than $7 over the next 20 years. Since the late 1980s, not once has $1 invested in the S&P 500 grown to more than $7 over the next 20 years. So Oftentimes the mistake that people make is that they use these historical stock returns to project how much income you'll be able to generate from your investments in the future. And that's just not realistic anymore. In a world where everybody's investing in stocks in their 401k, and there's, you can invest in mutual funds for almost no costs and ETFs. You can create a well-diversified portfolio of stocks for almost nothing. That's way different than it was even in the early 1970s. So it makes sense that the expected return, the reward that you need to get for investing in risky assets, is going to be less in the future. That's my belief. It's a belief of a lot of other people. And what that means is that if you run an analysis that shows how much income you can generate from an investment portfolio safely, that analysis may be using data that are no longer relevant in the future. I would rather base my lifestyle in retirement on those mortality credits, being part of the Long Life Income Club, being able to spend more because I'm part of the Long Life Income Club, because that doesn't depend on what happens in the market. If you invest in money and you take financial risk, on average, historically, you're going to be able to spend more than if you'd taken no risk, but there's certainly no guarantee that you'll spend more than if you took advantage of those mortality credits. And there is a significant probability that you'll spend a lot less if the markets don't do well. I used to tell people when I gave presentations on retirement income planning that if you pick up the wrong card at the very beginning of retirement, so in other words, imagine that you've got 40 playing cards, and on the back of each card is printed a return on your retirement portfolio. And two of them have negative 20% return on them. One of them has negative 30% return on them. If you pick up the negative 20% return card, then the probability of success might go from 95% down to 69%. If you pick up the negative 30% card, the probability of success goes from 95% down to 48%. So that's less than a 50-50 chance that you're going to be able to spend that amount of money that you thought was safe simply because you picked up the wrong card. And I'll tell you, there are retirees who retired in 2021 during the pandemic because the market had done so well in 2021 who took risks. They invested in high yield bonds, and they invested in crypto, and then they took market risk. They picked up that negative 30% card the first year. That means they're going to have to cut back significantly on their spending if they want to maintain a decent chance that they're not going to run out. That's the trade-off that you have to be willing to accept when you take investment risk.
And that's a sequence of returns risk that we talk about on the show all the time. You got to protect that retirement income the first 5 years before you retire and the first 5 years after. If you did, and I talk about it all the time on the show, so I appreciate you pointing that out. If you retired in January or December 31st, that seems like that's the day everyone retires. If you retired on December the 31st of 2021 and you woke up on January 1st of 2022, all at risk, wow. That was a painful way to start the retirement, and then you have a massive problem because of the sequence of returns risk. You can't take those major negative losses at the beginning of the portfolio, and 2022 was the 7th worst year in the history of the S&P. So, friends, if you're listening right now and you want to learn more about how to protect your retirement, maybe you didn't even know this is possible, and you've been listening to Dr. Finca and you're like, hey, what is this insurance pooling and what is this long life longevity club? I want to learn about this. Just call us. We'll give you the information absolutely free. Our number is 866-780-7233. When you call in, I'll give you a copy of my book, Bulletproof, the Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan, that shares research from people like Dr. Finca. So call us anytime, 866-780-7233. Since I have to take a break, now would be a great time to call me for a complimentary copy of my best-selling book, Bulletproof, the Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan. And I'll also give you a copy of my Safe Money Kit. My number is 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. Isn't it time to stop exposing your retirement to market risk? You're listening to Safe Money Radio with Brad Pistole.
What do you do in the morning? Do you spend the time with your first cup of coffee looking at the newspaper or watching financial news? How would you like to get that part of your life back? Our clients spend more time enjoying their retirement than watching their money. Wouldn't you rather enjoy your mornings instead of filling them with the stress of the markets? Call us now and we can show you how to sleep at night without worrying about market risk and outliving your retirement money. Our phone number is 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. You're listening to Safe Money Radio with your host, Brad Pistole.
Welcome back. I'm Brad Pistole, your host of Safe Money Radio. I am a capital preservation and strategic income planning specialist working with clients right here in Springfield and Ozark, Missouri. Friends, those of you who are joining us on the show today, if you missed the first segment, this podcast is online and you can watch the video. So just go back and go into YouTube and type in Brad Pistole Safe Money Radio. You can watch the entire thing. If you're listening to us on the radio today, we have Dr. Michael Finca with us, CFP, professor at the American College, and we're talking about protected lifetime income. And so, Michael, I want to ask you this. I know you and Wade Fowl had talked about something regarding annuities, and you said purchasing an income annuity with a portion of your retirement savings can provide a higher potential success, greater legacy wealth over the long term, and increased risk capacity. And earlier in the show, I love that analogy of the birthday cake and the party and being able to give a bigger piece of the pie to everyone because you don't have to worry about running out. But talk about how an income annuity with a portion of your retirement savings can give you higher potential for success.
Yeah, so let's think about, first of all, how would I create income if I didn't have an annuity, especially safe income? So a base of spending on top of Social Security that is not going to run out. I could try to do it myself. I could invest in CDs or, treasury bonds or something like that. And I'd have to set aside a certain amount of money to fund, let's say, $15,000 of spending a year. At today's interest rates, I'll have to put aside about $300,000 to fund $15,000 of spending every year to an age where I have a relatively low probability of running out of money. Now, what if instead I took $225,000 of my savings and bought an annuity that provided $15,000 of guaranteed spending every year? That means I've got an extra $75,000 to spend on other stuff or to invest. And if I invest, I can take more risk because I have a safety net. And the safety net is that I can spend $15,000 a year no matter what happens in the market. So a few years ago, a guy named David Blanchett, he was at Morningstar for a number of years, the head of retirement research. We looked at what the optimal portfolio, the mix of stocks and bonds would look like if you had an annuity versus not having an annuity. And what we found was that you can actually optimally take more investment risk if you have that base of guaranteed income. So you can actually take more risk with the remainder of your portfolio. And on average, again, you'll have more wealth over time that way, if that's your goal. And if the goal is just to spend money, you're going to have more money to spend on fun stuff. If you've got that extra $75,000, you don't have to set it aside so that, just in case you live to the age of 100, you can actually enjoy it. You can spend it. So you can either take more risk, potentially be able to pass on more wealth, or you can live it up and just spend the money, which, I plan to do. So, that's another strategy. It's a benefit of taking away that longevity risk. Again,
So
what
you
you're trying to
saying that-
avoid is the unintended bequest. So if I want to leave money to somebody, great. At the very beginning of retirement, let's put together a plan where that person who receives that bequest knows exactly how much money they're going to get. Let's create first a plan for legacy. And then I have an advisor that is a friend of mine. And one of the things that he says is like, what do you want your money to do for you 50 years in the future? And so essentially what he's creating is an opportunity for you to live forever with the legacy portion of your savings so that you can feel better about spending down the rest. I think it's a big problem in retirement, frankly, among those of us who are savers. We just don't spend our money. Yeah. And that means that someone else is going to spend it and have fun with it. I've actually done research on that. I like to call, people are either grasshoppers or they're ants. And if they're ants, like me, they tend not to spend enough. And when they get to retirement, they don't spend down their wealth.
Yeah.
And then there are grasshoppers. And if you give them, $100,000, it's going to be gone in less than 4 years on average. And what happens is the money gets spent by the grasshoppers and it gets saved by the ants generation after generation. And the grasshoppers have more fun. So we've got, if we're an ant, we need to live a little bit more like a grasshopper and get accustomed to this idea that we actually do have to spend down our savings in retirement.
Friends, what Dr. Michael Finca just said about how guaranteed lifetime income annuities help you take the appropriate amount of risk in retirement is so true. I say this all the time on this show. I own 7 annuities for a reason, and I'm about to purchase an 8th annuity. And people are always asking me, Brad, why do you own 7 different annuities? Well, friends, it's simple. I own 7 annuities because the purpose of money dictates where you put it. And my primary purposes for my retirement are safety and guaranteed lifetime income. You see, I don't ever want to become a financial burden on my family. I want to make sure that I have plenty of guaranteed lifetime income from Social Security and from my annuities to pay for all of my basic living expenses. You see, when it comes to things like real estate taxes, car insurance, homeowners insurance, utilities, vacations, spending money, and charitable giving, I want those things to come from something that is guaranteed to never run out no matter how long I live. I don't ever want to have to worry about whether or not my lifestyle is going to have to change just because the market goes up and down. Because guess what? It is going to go up and it is going to go down, and we don't know when. And it's the down periods that make a lot of retirees adjust their spending habits. Hey, listen, if you're 100% at risk with your retirement funds, and by luck of the draw, you retire at the wrong time when the market is in a downward spiral, the chances of your retirement success drop by 50%. That's what Dr. Michael Finca says. We help our clients avoid this risk. When you own the right type of annuities with the right type of guaranteed lifetime income riders attached, you avoid these risks. And that allows you to take more risk with the portion of your retirement income that you don't put into the annuities. Once you secure the income that you need to live on through annuities, you can swing for the fences with the money that's left outside of the annuity. So friends, stay with us. We're going to be talking more about Dr. Michael Finca's retirement research right after this break. And our number is 866-780-7233. You can always call anytime and just ask for a free financial consultation. We'll take a look at your current portfolio, and then we will show you why it's so important to work with retirement income certified professionals. Friends, we are retirement income experts. Our number is 866-780-7233, and there's always someone standing by to take your call. This is Brad Pistole, your host of Safe Money Radio. I'll be right back after this informative message.
Are you concerned about long-term care? You're also probably concerned about paying the high cost of long-term care coverage and increasing rates. Some long-term care rates have increased by as much as 40%. Thanks to recent changes made by Congress, you may be able to use non-qualified tax-deferred retirement money to pay for your long-term care tax-free. Some hybrid long-term care annuities or life insurance solutions can even double or triple your funds available for care. If you have non-critical health issues, you should still call us. Some insurance products have simplified underwriting, and a simple telephone interview will determine your qualification. Call us now if you want information on this opportunity to use tax-free money to pay for your long-term care. Our phone number is 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233.
Yeah, what can I do for you, Rod? You just tell me, what can I do for you?
It's a very personal, very important thing. Hell, it's a family matter. Are you ready, Jerry?
I'm ready.
Just want to make sure you're ready, brother. Here it is. Show me the money.
Jerry, does that make you feel good just to say that? Say it with me one time, Jerry.
Show you the money.
Oh, no, you can do better than that, Jerry. I want you to say it with meaning, brother. Hey, I got Bob Sugar on the other line. I better hear you say it.
Yeah, no. Show you the money.
Not show you. Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Yeah. Louder.
Show me the money.
That's it, brother. I need to feel you, Jerry.
Show me the money.
Jerry, you better yell. Show me the money.
You're listening to Safe Money Radio.
Show me the money.
Do you own an annuity? Do you understand what it does, how it works, and if it's right for your retirement plan? Some annuities have fees that might not be justified by their benefits. Some annuities are exposed to significant market risk. Worse yet, if an annuity was sold without proper planning, it can cause unintended consequences for your retirement. If you own an annuity, it's probably a good idea to find out more about how it works and if it's right for you. It's time to give Brad Pistole a call now at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. Brad will help you review the features and benefits of annuities you currently own without any obligation. Once again, you can call Brad now at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. Now back to more Safe Money Radio with your host, Brad Pistole.
Welcome back to Safe Money Radio. I'm Brad Pistole, a certified financial fiduciary and a safe money retirement specialist. Friends, on today's show, we've been talking about a new Kiplinger report that is titled, What You Need to Know About Annuities. And in this article, they quote Dr. Michael Finca from the American College of Financial Services many times. If you missed any part of this show, just go to our podcast on YouTube and you'll be able to listen to it. But let's pick back up where we left off earlier, and let's listen to part of a recent interview that I did with Dr. Michael Finca right here on Safe Money Radio. Just listen to what he has to say about the importance of annuities and the role that they play in a great retirement income plan. Michael, I want to ask you about this. Income annuities in today's world, that they're actually, you've said they're less expensive and they're safer for risk-adverse retirees whose primary goal is income security in retirement. Talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, what do I mean by safer? And first of all, I think it is important to pay attention to the financial strength of the insurance company when you are buying any sort of a lifetime income. I think all economists would agree on that I don't have to worry about the company that I'm doing business with. They're going to provide an income for the rest of my life. That type of safety is important to me as well. Now, remember that there are also things like state guarantees that provide a backstop. Even AIG annuity owners didn't lose money back in the global financial crisis back in 2008, 2009. So annuity protectors are protected. Now, what I mean by safety is that if you're doing it on your own and you're investing in, let's say, a risky portfolio, then you run the risk that the market is not going to cooperate. The other important risk is that you're going to outlive your savings. The other risk is that you're not going to be able to follow your plan because you're too worried about potentially running out. You don't actually spend your money. There are a number of risks that can be mitigated through the use of an income annuity so that I know exactly how much I can spend every month and I know I'm not going to run out. And that risk is a big risk, and other types of risks are, I think, a lot smaller than that. So, I pay attention. Let me give you another example too, because when I first went to Texas Tech University back in 2006, I had an option because I came from University of Missouri. I had an option to take part of my retirement savings and buy a future income through the Texas Tech pension, or through the Texas pension system. Yeah. And I did. It took the most of my retirement savings, and I was able to buy all the credit that I had at University of Missouri towards the Texas system. Now, would I have done that if I was going to work at a university in Illinois? No, because I have no confidence that Illinois is going to have enough money to pay my pension in 30 or 40 years in the future. Texas, I have a reasonable amount of confidence. They have a big budget surplus. They're doing okay. But Illinois, I'm worried about. And this is one of the reasons why the old pension system, in many ways, the current defined contribution system where I get to choose which company will provide my lifetime income. I'm not stuck with the state of Illinois. I can choose an insurance company that I trust, that I feel confident that 30 years from today, they're going to continue to cut me checks that can support my lifestyle in retirement. That's a big benefit. It's one of the big benefits of the defined contribution system, frankly, is that I have agency. I can choose who I want to get my pension-like income from.
Right.
And you know, a lot of people romanticize this era where people used to get pensions from companies, but plenty of those companies went under. You know, the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation has had to step in for airlines and, you know, big car manufacturers. A lot of companies that people thought would never go bankrupt went bankrupt. So, you know, the ability to spread my retirement income over multiple insurance companies, to start it at different dates, that's the kind of agency that I need to be able to take advantage of when I'm building my perfect retirement income strategy.
Friends, as we start to wrap up the show today, I want to play one more segment from a recent podcast that I did with Dr. Michael Finca, who is a world-renowned economist. Remember, he was quoted many times in a recent 2024 Kiplinger report about the importance of owning annuities in your retirement portfolio. And I have always said this on my show. As a certified financial fiduciary, I will never suggest that you should do something that I haven't done for myself. Friends, I own 7 annuities, and I have owned annuities since May the 2nd of 2008. I've been protecting my money ever since the stock market collapse that decimated the retirement accounts of millions of Americans. So since Dr. Finca spends so much time talking about annuities and how important they are for the success of a retirement income plan, I asked him whether or not he owned any.
I do. You know, as I mentioned before, I bought a pension from Texas, the state of Texas. That's an annuity. You know, and remember that Social Security is an annuity. When people say, I don't like annuities, really? You hate your Social Security? That's an annuity. You hate your pension? No. You know, people love their annuities. So let's get, you know, real about what an annuity is. Now, I also, when I was in my 40s, and I'll give you a little bit of background because I started doing some of these simulations on deferred income annuities back in the around 2014, 2015. And I, especially when it comes to tax efficiency of annuities in taxable accounts as an alternative to something that gets taxed every year, like a CD. So a lot of people are excited about the fact that they're getting 5% on their CDs. Are you getting 5% on your CDs?
Not really.
If your combined federal and state marginal tax rate is 40%, you're getting 3% on your CDs. That's not as exciting. It takes a long time for your money to grow after tax at 3%. But if I were to put my money into something that paid 5% that wasn't taxed every year, not only would I get a higher rate of growth, but I would get it compounded. So in other words, if I have $100,000, I'll have $105,000 next year. Then my 5% will be on top of that $105,000. So it'll be more than $5,000 of gains the year after that. And I modeled it out. I actually did a white paper for a company. And after I did it, I said, this is just a no-brainer. I'm going to get one myself. And in fact, some other people from EY who were doing some simulations for the company, they came to the same conclusion. In fact, one who lived in New York actually went to a different state to get an annuity because it was, you know, for whatever reason, there was a regulatory barrier to getting it in New York. And you know, those of us who spend a lot of time modeling this stuff, especially in the non-qualified space, buying that annuity ahead of time and getting that tax deferral benefit. And I'll tell you right now, the rates, the income rates, you know this, you have not seen income quotes like what you've seen over the last few months over a decade, maybe 2 decades. You know, we haven't seen anything quite like this in a long time. And I don't know if you do this also, but I'm a retirement income geek. I look up how much income I can buy at age 65. That starts at age 65. I look at how much income I can buy at age 75 and 85. And it's amazing how much income I can buy in the future if I simply buy it today. So what the insurance company is doing is they're estimating how much in their general account that money will grow every year over time, but it's not being taxed. And then at retirement, I start having the ability to draw an income out of it. But during that in-between period, I never have to pay tax on the growth. That's a significant benefit that you will not get from a CD. And essentially, if you did a head-to-head comparison of how much income you could buy with CDs versus buying the annuity ahead of time, the amount of income you can generate from buying the annuity ahead of time is going to be far more. And again, it's going to be lifetime income, and I never have to worry about it getting lower.
Friends, in the Kiplinger report titled What You Need to Know About Annuities, remember what they said at the beginning. We shared this at the beginning of today's show. According to a survey by Corebridge Financial, more than half of Americans today say they want to live to be 100 years old, but 55% of them say they are extremely or very concerned about running out of money. We just spent the past 30 minutes sharing key information with you from Dr. Michael Finca, in which he explains how to permanently get rid of the fear associated with ever running out of money, and it can easily be solved by protecting a portion of your money with annuities that provide guaranteed lifetime income. And then at the end of the Kiplinger report, just listen to what they said. In a section of this article titled Satisfied with Their Choices, Phyllis Grisham, age 90, of Fort Myers, Florida, said this: relying on annuities to fund her retirement income was a no-brainer. The retired nurse practitioner says she lives comfortably without worrying about money because of the income she receives as a result of her late husband putting his retirement funds into annuities when he retired more than 25 years ago from his career as an academic physician. While she says she has slowed down a bit in the past couple of years, she continues to lead an active life and says having reliable, steady income has enabled her to do the things that she enjoys. Money, she says, is not a worry. Friends, this is exactly why my good friend, world-renowned economist Tom Hegna says this: the success of your retirement is going to depend on the answer to these two questions. How much guaranteed lifetime income do you have, and have you taken the key retirement risks off the table? This is exactly what we do for our clients all across the country. We help them secure the appropriate amount of contractually guaranteed lifetime income, and we help them take the key retirement risks off the table. If you want to live the retirement of your dreams, just give us a call. We will show you why people trust us as retirement income certified professionals to help them develop their safe and secure retirement income plan. Our number is 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. And there's always someone standing by to take your call. Well, I'm about out of time, and I would like to thank you for listening to Safe Money Radio. If you're serious about your financial future, give me a call, and together we'll get your retirement savings on the fast track to accumulation while reducing exposure to market losses. Thanks for listening, and until next time at the same time, I'm Brad Pistole, reminding you to stay safe so you can step into a secure future.
Safe Money Radio, your money safe and sound.
You've been listening to Safe Money Radio with your host, Brad Pistole. Find out how to contractually guarantee that your hard-earned money is safe while avoiding market loss so you can have the retirement that you deserve. Call Brad Pistole now for your complimentary Safe Money book and Safe Money information kit at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233.
Safe Money Radio, your money safe and sound.
The preceding information does not represent tax, legal, or investment advice. Surrender charges apply to base contracts. Optional lifetime income benefit riders are used to calculate lifetime payments only and are not available for cash surrender or in a death benefit unless specified in the annuity contract. Fees may apply. Guarantees are based on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the insurance company. No information presented today should be acted upon without meeting with a qualified and licensed professional. Obviously, by calling us now, you are just taking the first step towards protecting your retirement. It's important that you read all insurance contract disclosures carefully before making a purchase decision. Rates and returns mentioned on this program are subject to change without notice.